Hey everyone, welcome to the daily stream. I am doing these streams daily for the duration of this campaign for Hugo's Perfect Picnic, and I'm doing about an hour stream as often as I can just to promote this book. And part of my promotion is to do some of these daily streams, so if anyone who comes across this through the algorithms, what have you, you can put a face to the project. So that's me, Nolan. And now my name is also attached to another property that you might see when you Google my name, which is the Punching Pandas, and that's my more popular work. And am still working on a project for Punching Pandas, but here I am in the promotion mode for this book, which is my first book, which is my first project going into telling a narrative story. So I wrote and illustrated this book, Hugo's Perfect Picnic, and you can see we are at 2,500. We're over 30% of our funding goal, which is great. So thank you for those who have backed the project and who are, also for those who are also looking at the project and contemplating. Feel free to jump in and join the party. We have 23 days left to go, so almost 3 weeks left before before the campaign ends. And this is an all or nothing goal, which means that if the funding goal is not met, then no funds are released. Your credit card won't be charged. But if it does, and that that's great. But also there are things like stretch goals, which I have laid out here, which includes adding a spot glass cover, or maybe adding but adding sticker sheets for every backer, and then there's also releasing the PDF, the special PDF version, an earlier draft of the piece where I included, let's say, a little bit more chaos into the piece. Don't worry, it's not. It's more like cartoony fun. Kind of think Looney Tunes action back in the day. And so that's the project. And basically there's several tiers. Mostly I kept them simple this time around and try not to include as many crazy custom things. Although there are a limited amount of signed copies that I will do a custom signed book of. And so basically the timeline for all this is that once the project funds, then as we're nearing the end of the campaign, that gives me a more accurate count of how many books that we need to print and send to the printer. So then I could send that over, and then some of the books will have to be sent to me, or I will have to go over to the printer, and then I have to sign and sketch all those out. And we're probably looking sometime, just making sure that I don't, it's going to be pretty tight to make Christmas, but it'll at least, it'll be safe to say that the books will be coming in 2021. But anyways, what I wanted to do now is to do some live sketching, just to show how I will be, it's just a way for me to take a little bit of a break out of the rest of my work, out of all the promotion stuff, and just get back into the nitty gritty of just making art. So anyways, if you guys have any questions, or if anybody else is tuning in, feel free to just jump on, just chat. This is not meant to be any sort of presentation. It's meant to just be an open, like an open studio. So this is just a look into what I do from a day to day, and it's been a while since I've actually done this type of drawing. As you could tell from the Hugo book, it's a different type of process where I'm almost setting things up to and putting them together almost like a puzzle piece rather than drawing. So it's kind of nice to just do straight drawing where I don't have to, where I can just do more doodling. And so, yeah, anyways, so for the next hour, I'm just going to be just sketching a little bit. don't really have any agenda, no theme in mind to draw. I'm just kind of trying to come up with something that just feels just comfortable in general. Which is interesting because I haven't drawn. Normally, I do a lot of these human doodles on paper and pencil, and so I have a lot more fun doing that versus say digital, where I have a habit of tweaking and making things as perfect as possible. So I'm gonna just draw like a monster type. I'm gonna draw some really simple monster shapes, and we'll go from there. So I like to keep things pretty simple in terms of just the shape. I like adding a little bit of offset to kind of make things. I don't know how I think like just in general I've been attracted just to cartoons, and I think it's just because of the abstraction of it. It's like this. There's you could just draw all sorts of silly things and really make them really make for some creative things that you would normally see in the real life. And probably just okay, so actually one of the nice things I was able to do the other day was to actually look at watch some animated films, and well, there was a couple that I tried to watch. So I think lately I've been feeling a little bit I guess a little bit bored with what I see, like in terms of just the storytelling from I think most of it has been like Hollywood stuff, and you've heard, for some of you who have watched this channel before, like Hector here, you probably think this is kind of a boring take that I'm tempting to espouse as being fresh. But I did watch this one animated or one 3D film called Ne Jia. Now that it's kind of it's not exactly how it's spelled as the way it sounds, but it's spelled Nezha, and I think it's spelled. Sometimes it's seen as two words, sometimes it's seen as one word. It's a story based on Chinese mythology, and it's like set in the mystical world of China, and it's about how, like, I guess back before the age of time, there was there used to be this thing called the Chaos Pearl that would absorb all this energy and it cause all sorts of like calamities and stuff. And somehow I'm just butchering the mythology of this because I never grew up with it, being an American, being in America. But it goes something like a deity encased or split the Chaos Pearl into two pieces. One's the Demon Pearl, and the other's this the Spirit Pearl. And the Spirit Pearl is supposed to be the one that's supposed to be good, and then the Demon Pearl is the one that's like supposed to be like bad, right? It's kind of like a spirit of fire, whereas the blue is more for ice and water. And so it's supposed to be, I think it's supposed to be like this, the Demon Pearl is supposed to be manifested in this kid, but then, or I mean, both of them are both pearls are supposed to be embedded into this kid of a noble, but then at the last second, the Spirit Pearl, the good one, gets sucked away. So the bad pearl, the Demon Pearl, gets imbued in this kid, and so the kid ends up being like this really powerful kid, but also very like very mischievous, always causing trouble. And at least that's what was communicated in the film. I think in actual tradition it might be something different, because I read or I listened to a video saying that it's it's kind of based off of it, but it's not the exact retelling of the story, which I think the mythology is called like Neja's Triumph. So it's on Netflix. Yeah, it's on Netflix. And but I thought it surprised me because I came in with lower expectations. I didn't know what this film was about, and I came across it based on seeing a video essay about Chinese animation, because obviously a lot of Chinese animation was done to support the Hollywood films, and so by I'm trying to get that smirk. I was trying to remember what this kid looks like. It's like but I love the character designs and actually the humor was something that was something I was pleasantly surprised by, because I didn't think that my experience with seeing some previous Chinese films and their humor is like they're trying to be as silly Billy as possible, but it just kind of comes off a little bit like, oh, you're trying to be funny by just saying something funny, not actually like crafting like a good gag or doing time setting up or that sort of thing. But this film does it well. I was pretty surprised. There's a lot of moments where I chuckled because like it's the characters themselves, they actually felt like they were real, like they were actual people, or there's a personality behind each one of them, and that's kind of a mark of a good character, where it just feels like it's someone that you can relate to, or at least you can get it feels authentic. So anyways, he becomes this misfit character because all of the village, they are all afraid of him because he's this Demon Pearl. He's always causing trouble every time he gets out of the palace. And so and there's a bunch of other rules, because it's kind of like a fantasy, and so there's a lot of exposition where I had no idea what they were talking about, but then I kind of chalked that up to being, well, this is probably some a story that people have listened to a long time ago for many years, over many times, and this is what they grew up with. And so it's kind of like how we in the West probably we probably have the whole origin story of Spider-Man and Batman memorized. So whenever they retell it, we kind of like groan because it's like, well, we've heard this a million times already. So I'm just gonna say it's due to that. But I would highly recommend it because I think it felt pretty fresh when I watched it, and it's a decent watch. And I say it's pretty fun. It's not the deepest movie, but there are times when the film kind of feels like it's trying to show off, and there's like lots of really elaborate set pieces. But I also know that it's also supposed to be about Chinese mythology, which there's not really anything like subtle about it at all. So it does feel over the top. I think in general that's a result of the mythology that's kind of embedded in the mythology in itself. So now I have seen Nico and the Sword of Light. I haven't kept up with that. I think I remember watching the pilot episode, but then kind of didn't, or I didn't really keep up with it too much. So maybe I have to go back to revisit it. But I have been pretty interested in checking out some other older properties, like, because like I noticed a lot of anime these days. I don't watch a lot of anime, but I do. There's a couple that I came across, but as soon as I turned it on, it's like the anime is done in 3D, like the cell shaded 3D. And so when I see that, I kind of get turned off of it because I think it takes me out of the experience, because I'm looking at this and it's telling me that it's supposed to be hand drawn, but me being an artist, I can't. It kind of ruins it for me. Like I have to try really hard to accept it as is. So like I will always go for like hand drawn over cell shaded. To me, that's just the way it is. I've watched some movies like Appleseed, and I can still appreciate the story, but it still bothers me that the whole thing is cell shaded. I'd rather have it just be straight up 3D, like what you see with the Lupin the Third movie coming out, which is just 3D. It's taking advantage of the medium. And then it's so I appreciate that. I appreciate it when I see a story done that way, or a movie done that way, where it's like, okay, you're trying to just you know what you are, you're not trying to be something else. And that's why I feel like a lot with technology that tries to mimic the organic. And I not to say that it can't be done in the future. It will be done in the future, maybe to the point where it's like it becomes imperceptible at that time. I know, and maybe what we're going through right now is just kind of the clumsy growing pains of trying to figure that out. So, but if I see hand drawn, I'm definitely going for that. I got to the habit of drawing my panda courier, which she looks I kind of drew her a little bit older than what I would normally draw her at, but I don't know, that's okay. Maybe she does need to be aged up. I always get nervous sometimes when just doing like humans and figures doing live stream, because I'm always I'm always trying to I'm always a little bit conscious about like, oh, am I drawing it right? Am I getting the proportions right? Like, I have no problem just drawing in private, but I just feel like it just, I don't know, just I feel like you have to get like the figure right. Otherwise, if you don't do it right, then you kind of like um, discredit yourself as an artist. That's not very. Anyways, but yeah, I said like I was looking at some previous uh, older anime, and it's like, man, it's like, so when you look at some of the mech stuff back then, it's pretty incredible what they can draw back then. And I came across a recent article about, or a video essay about the state of animation today, and a lot of it was focusing more on the adult audience for animation, and it's just it like these all look like animatics now. They all like they don't even look like finished products, and it's just like that's, we kind of lost the artistic part of creating these of creating animation, and I don't know if that will come back again. I haven't seen any walkthrough. I've seen little clips of it, and they do I think they do like a puppet system, which is, I'm not against any puppet system or cell shading in general, but I think when it has to be done well. And I think with cell shading, I don't know if I found an example that I really like yet. I tried watching parts of Berserker, but I haven't gotten through it yet. I think I started and then but it's not like something that you can like watch with the family. Let's just say that. And the only way I know about that is I hear from other people, and then it's like, I think once I started watching I was watching some of the movies, and then I realized, oh yeah, this is probably why I haven't watched much of it. Okay, let's try something different. How about let's see, not a brave little toaster. I'm just gonna get a sip here. Of course, we're gonna have some Hugo. Well, if I were to draw Hugo like so, It kind of looks like something like. Oh yeah. Actually, before I'm gonna take a little pause here. So, I did a post earlier today of Hugo, some concept art I had from Hugo, and I just want to go through some of this. So you can see some of these sketches that I have, and it's I drew these a long time ago. I think last time I drew these was like 2000 and maybe 2015, 2016, and so obviously I was doing some reference studies of like existing gorillas, and I would see, oh, what makes a gorilla feel like a gorilla. And so you'll see some of these drawings recreated here. Here's an obvious example of one in this one right here. Got to move this more centered. And I started squishing and squashing, and then trying out different styles, different attempts at it, just to make it more feel more like a kid's book. Some I try to add more expressions, try broader shapes, and so I try to start going very simplistic. But at this point I didn't know exactly how to render the character yet. I was just doing some discovery. So you'll notice here he has ears and such. And then I also had to think about how he was going to hold the picnic basket, because if he's walking on all fours, then it's not going to work. So obviously I just made him just hold the picnic basket. I did some versions like this but it kind of felt a little bit weird because it didn't really feel like he was holding some kind of basket. Also, he tried some color here, and just tried to figure out what makes him feel more like similar to King Kong. So just interesting little. It's like a trip down memory lane seeing some of this, and there's also let's see. So that goes there. Here's another round where I think that one's on a different layer. So you see I tried to do some very cute, simple ideas. Some more trying to try out different expressions. Some that are more anatomically correct, more stylistic. Trying to do some color renderings. This is actually really cool just to see. So I hope if you're also trying to do character design and trying to figure out what your protagonist is going to look like, you can take these as inspiration. It's just they're all just in service to a final goal, right? Here's some other gorilla studies, just trying to get a sense of just get familiar with the shapes, familiar with just the general forms. But I didn't stick to it too tightly, obviously. But I did notice things like I wanted the face to be encased in some kind of keyhole type shape, which you'll see later on. One interesting thing that I did actually was I also decided to take actors who were kind of on the hefty, bulky side. So you notice here I have Ernest Borgnine, like guys like Chris Pratt. I got Oliver Hardy, and I just try to see. Oh, yeah, beautiful. Pre-Guardians Chris Pratt, man, that guy just got ripped. Or pre, what was it? The Bin Laden movie. I forgot that he was in. But just taking those profiles and then trying to. Where did I put it? I think it's here. No, it's. I believe it's here, right? So I took some of those expressions and tried to redraw them to see how they would feel, and you can kind of see some of the essence. I was trying to retain some of the essence of them. I haven't posted any of these before, so I don't know if if I post them now, people would get who these are, because I think a couple of these work for me. Obviously this one's is a meme by now, and I love watching Laurel and Hardy growing up. Those are big influences for me. So here I can show you some more Hardy here. And then, so then I kind of translated to, some more stylistic things. I even tried doing like a skeleton in here so you can see like the bone where the kneecap is, how the knee will bend. Obviously I didn't end up using these in the end because I thought by the time I got to rendering it, I realized, well, I don't really need to get into the whole mechanics of how he's gonna walk or bend his limbs and stuff. But it was a pretty useful exercise for me to go through, and I had to go through this to arrive at the final product, right? So certain details get left behind, certain details get simplified through the process. So that's how we kind of got to where we are. So yeah, a lot. And I could have done a lot more designs and explorations, but this is what we have so far. So back to the sketching. Let's go back to the sketching. How about yeah, so we're about half an hour in. So we'll continue for another half hour, but we'll also pause to say, for those of you who are joining us later, Hugo's Perfect Picnic is still on Kickstarter. We don't have any additional backers, but I don't think we've caught any backers today. But if you know anybody who's interested in original children's books, especially children's books that have things like giant monsters that are very friendly, by the way. There's even the 50-foot tall woman, Gilbert the Giant, and Robo Rita. And you can see some excerpts of the page here so that you can see not only read the rhymes, but you can also check out the art too. The art's great. I think it's good. I think it's pretty good. But there's a goal of 8,000, but I would like to go and hit some of these stretch goals. Hopefully we can reach 8,000, and then from there on get that snowball effect where it keeps going and growing, and we can hit some of these stretch goals. So yeah, and I'll get back to the sketching. Okay, let's draw some Hugo. So maybe Hugo would be like, we're gonna have him monkeying on this keyboard here. Maybe we could bring this hand down here. He'll be doing the tippy tap on the laptop. We just do a we'll do an eye banana. Usually his foot will come out there. I don't know if I should do a foot. Maybe I go like this. Kind of fake. His foot looks really long. Maybe I can go like that. Yeah, there we go. Yes, so back up Hugo today. Let's also do some other sketching here. So we got some Neja over there. How about a... Let's design some... I'm going to choose a random topic. How about I design some spaceship that is driven by some hyperactive toddler. Yes. I'll be there in a minute. My manager is a bit demanding at the moment, so bear with me. He's telling me that I need to hurry up with the stream. So I was gonna draw some... I'll be there in a minute. Actually, I'm going to take this off. I'm going to have him draw. He knows that he's not supposed to be in here, by the way. But that doesn't stop him. I think I always feel like whenever my son wants to play with me, it's like there's always that part that just tugs at my heart because it's like, oh, I know I'm not gonna get this time with him for, like we have a lot of time, but I'm pretty sure at the end, and when I'm on my deathbed, I always tell myself like, well, if I'm on my deathbed, I'm probably gonna say to myself, I wish I had another 5 minutes to play with you. So sorry for getting cheesy, but that's what I think about a lot of times when he wants to play. So I'm even on the days that I'm most stressed out. I try to keep that in perspective. How am I going to do this? I think I'm going to take out these fans. Let me just make it more. Yeah, my son's like 3 years old. And he's getting so big so fast. Pretty soon he's gonna start schooling me at all sports. He'll remember all the times I punked him when I was playing ball with him. All the times I would trick him. I feel like I should make a story about that, like just someone just on their deathbed and just wishing that they maybe, although it might be too sad. It might be too sad to like have someone just on their deathbed, but then they get like 10 more minutes with their kids, like at any time in their life, right? That would kind of be a fun story, I guess. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what this ship is supposed to be. Kind of feels like a little Feels very symmetrical to me right now. That's the problem I'm having. So I'm just going to try to shrink this down. Maybe I'm just going to, you know, it's like, whoop. So I have a big so I have a big, a small, and a medium, and then kind of this little I'm not quite digging that yet. Maybe there needs to be some kind of course there'll be one on this side. Yeah, let's try that for now. I'm just gonna leave that, and then let's go for one more drawing. Then we'll call it a day. Let me change that mouth a little bit. Maybe some bigger cheekbones. Once I have to remember what what side of the shirt the buttons go on. Let's push this a little bit broader. Actually, we gotta give him the white tennis shoes. Alright, I think I'm just gonna call it quits for now. I feel like I'm overworking this drawing. But it's a lot of fun, because I don't normally draw these types of things. So anyways, let's go back and wind this video up. So, like I said, let's go back this campaign if you haven't already. Hugo's Perfect Picnic is my children's book on Kickstarter. And feel free to go to the link in the description below, and you can click on it and contribute. You can choose several tiers, either 1 book, 2 book, 3 book, 5 book. There could be more books if there's more demand. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed just hanging out with me. Like I said, I'll be trying to do a stream every day as often as I can, just to promote this project. So if you guys can also share the video or just tell your friends about it, we can get some more people on here as well, and even more people onto the Kickstarter, because I also want to get other people. I also want to reach some of these stretch goals, because it will unlock, if we can unlock some of these stretch goals, then I would love to reveal some of the new secrets that we have in store. So back it, share it on social media, hashtag Hugo's Perfect Picnic. And with that, you guys have a great rest of the evening, and I'll see you later.